Hi, hello, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. I'm so sorry. We have been having a lot of disruption with network and beauty, but we are getting there.
That's okay. That's fine.
We're really happy to have you on board. That
Yeah, it is good to be here. Thank you so much.
If you're just joining us now, Kodak, before you came online, we telling the viewers who you are. A lot of them would have seen you the flyers. Viewers, if you don't know, Kodak is an entrepreneur. He's an event host and a brand. He's into personal branding. Kodak, we want to ask you some questions. We have here. Can you tell us about what personal branding is?
Okay. Basically, a personal brand just basically is a person's reputation. Basically, it's everything that the person does, everything that they say, everything that the person represents, the values, the reputation that they have generally. A personal brand is how people see you. In fact, what people say about you when you're not there. That's your brand. Your brand is what you represent, is what you stand for. So whether you're in a particular place or indoors or outdoors, anywhere you are, your personal brand is what you leave behind. Every day when we go out, just consider a very typical day. Today was Sunday. So Christians went to church, how you interacted with people while you were at church. Tomorrow you're going to go to work or to school or wherever. Every single day that you go out, everything that you do, the way you look, the things you represent, the likes and dislikes that you have, basically everything that makes you who you are is your personal brand. So it's something that people need to protect, because even when you're not there, your brand continues to speak. And then that now determines what happens when you come. So when you're, in the presence of people, or when people have to interact with you, what they're actually doing is interacting with your brand. So they trust you, they like you, they respect you because of your brand. So for me, personal branding just generally is who a person is entirely and the reputation that they have. That's what it is.
Wow, that was really, really amazing. Okay, our second question is, how can the contestants develop a brand like beauty pageants things?
Okay, so this is what it is. Now, I would say, and generally when you're competing for anything, you develop your brand by being very, very deliberate as to what you want to represent, the values that you stand for. In the first place, before you interact with the face of soccer that is on its own a brand, one of the things I enjoyed from watching the previous speakers was, they spoke about gender equality as regards sports. Then they spoke about, from the men angle. And then somebody said there was no need to even compare, because generally, whatever you do, the value will speak for itself. Of course, there are records. So for people who want to develop their brand as contestants for this particular program, first of all, you must have value for the platform that you're on. Now, I think for somebody to even come into the brand to want to compete, that means they find value in what your platform is doing, and that is your own brand in the first place. Now, these ladies are going to come in and represent your brand. So more than anybody else, you have to be concerned as to what brand they bring in and what brand they are able to develop, because what they do in or out would represent and speak for or against your own brand. So if the contestants want to develop their brand, basically they have to set aside and determine their goals. What are they coming into this competition for? That's why I said it cuts across everything that has to do with competition. What are you coming for? Some people come just because, look, it's a very good platform. I'll get to meet people. I'll get to be exposed to football clubs, or to football executives. Some people come because they want to win and they want to represent that brand. Not everybody is coming because they're aligning with your brand. Some want to just come and ride on the platform that your brand would provide. So generally, whatever it is, they must determine their goals. Another thing that you need to do is to identify and establish their personality. Who are you? What are you representing? Whether it's in camp, whether it's online, whether it's virtual, on social media. Let me give you a very good example. Imagine having contestants who are coming and they are behaving all nicely. You know, everybody's doing the right things, everybody's obedient. However, if you research or go check them out on Facebook, they are different people. You know, they're having in traffic, being very, very rude to an elderly person, or generally maybe just fighting in public. You now realize that that person is not living their true brand. So one of the things that you do as a contestant to develop your brand is to establish your personality. Let people know who you are from the onset, and you stick to that. Whether people are there or not, you are the same person. Whether somebody meets you in church, in the office, in school, just walking down the road, you are the same person that they know. Basically, what I'm trying to say is be true to yourself, because that is your brand. Now, one thing is, whether you like it or not, when it comes to personal branding, what people think about you and what people think of you would affect how they relate with you. And sometimes it can even affect the opportunities that come your way. If you have a negative reputation, whether it is true or it's not true, nobody wants to associate with you. So most times, before they even come to find out, hey, look, this is what people are saying about you. Nobody has that time anymore, especially in the age that we're in. Very digital times. People can read about you without even knowing you. People can go through your IG and see your page before they even ask you. So your brand will speak for you. Another thing that I would like to say that people need to do is know your value. Basically, what I mean by value is know what you're offering. So if you're coming to a pageant, forget about what the pageant is going to do for you or what you're going to gain from the pageant. Let your mindset be, look, my brand is sincerity. I'm coming into this pageant and I must leave my imprint of sincerity by the time it is done. You know? So basically on this particular question, the final thing I want to say is, one thing about this contest is that the contestants is that only one person would win. Yes, nowadays pageants gives you a lot of room for you know, the best this, the best that, and the most this, but there's only one winner. However, every contestant that you have showcased would represent your brand. So they must live up to the rules that you have set for them. Because whatever they do, even after the competition, would continue to speak for or against you. And I'm sure you know we have some very good and terrible examples from the past. You know, so there are people who went ahead after the show or after the competition not to represent the brand in the best way possible. And there's also been those who have done exceptionally well, very humble, very sincere, and they've been true to themselves. So I would just say as a list, the things you must do to develop a personal brand is determine your goals. Know what you're after. What are you aiming for? Even if it's not to win, what is your own goal? You want connections, you want to be able to, you want to learn something, or you just want to enjoy the game of sports, that's fine. Then also identify your personality. Know who you are. And finally, identify the value that you bring. Know what it is that you are bringing to the table. Forget about what you're going to gain, but focus on what you're going to bring. That is your personal brand. And even after the competition, that would still be lasting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. One more question before you go, Kodak. We want to know, why is personal branding important?
Okay, now, wow. I think it's important because whether you like it or not, a personal brand will be developed for you. So whether you focus on it or you don't, once you interact with anybody or you walk into a particular place, your brand will be left behind. Now, what could this brand be? Now, let me just be very blunt. Imagine you walk into a room and you don't say anything. You just go into a shop, you want to buy something, right? And then you speak to the cashier nicely, politely, you're doing very well, your English is good, and then you buy what you want and then you leave. However, your hygiene is not very, very optimal. It's not good. So you leave and people feel that, oh, there's an order. That automatically is your brand. They will remember you for that. If you notice in the world today, we call people by how we remember them, where we met them, what they were doing or where we know them from. If you check our phones, you will see Jennifer Market or Emeka Airport or something. Because of where you met them and how you remember them, that is the brand and that is the memory you have of them in your mind. So personal branding is important because we all need it. As a business, your brand needs it. As an individual, as a company, anything. Even as a country, Nigeria has a brand. Unfortunately, we are still struggling to make sure that we have a good brand at the end of the day. So whether you do something about personal branding or not, a person develops for you. So I think that automatically speaks to it makes it automatically important that you must have a personal brand. It's important because with your effort or not, a personal brand will be developed on your behalf.
If you're just joining us now, we're talking about personal branding by Mr. Kodak. He's an entrepreneur and the host and a personal. He is into personal branding. Kodak, the last question I was about to ask you is that do you think Face of Soccer Nigeria International Beauty Pageant is a very good run in promoting soccer in Nigeria and Africa?
Okay, now I'll just tell you straight. You know, for the first time I got to understand what the Face of Soccer was all about, I realized that it was a very unique way to bring ladies into the mindset of sports. Now, you're basically, the brand is using what ladies like, pageants, looking nice, everything. At the same time, using that to develop the concept of sports and the culture, and also for them to be encouraged about the fact that women too can excel in sports, particularly soccer. So for me, it's a very unique blend. You know, there are so many ways that you could have done it to encourage people, seminars and the rest of them. However, I just thought about it, a pageant for football lovers. That's just an amazing blend. And for me, it starts with where you are, your own particular society, then Nigeria at large. Then people begin to accept what you're doing. And I use the word accept because not everything is accepted at first go. People must first observe, then understand, then participate before they can accept it. So for me, over time, Face of Soccer will become accepted. Because look at today, we're talking about, equal rights for ladies, which is one of the global topics right now. But however, you brought it through the streamline of sports, and that for me is brilliant. Then we're talking about, them having a very good brand and also having good mentors so that they can develop themselves into what they see and the examples that have been set for them. That for me is another unique way. So the brand itself, from Nigeria to Africa, it's an amazing brand that is ready to happen. And what I always tell people, consistency, which is your brand in itself. The more consistent you are, the first year has gone, second year, this is the third year. Before you know, you'll be doing the 10th anniversary. And by then, you will see the journey that you've come from so far. So for me, people who are connecting with you now in this humble beginning are the wise ones, because football is here to stay. Soccer is something that brings every tribe, every religion. People love soccer. Case in point was yesterday, Chelsea and Arsenal played football. Awesome game. And football brought people together. So that's what it would do for Africa.